I want to be able to show up as myself and not be apologetic about how I'm showing up. Yes, we've changed, bodies change, everything's just changed at this time. And it's like, I don't want to shrink because of the change. I want to embrace it and just enjoy my life regardless. There are days where I'm like, I'm really not happy with that, but I'm just not going to let that stop me.
Welcome to Reinvention Rebels, stories of brave and unapologetic women 50 to 90 years young who have boldly reinvented life on their own terms to find new purpose and possibilities. I'm your host, Wendy Battles. I need to kick your fears to the curb, do it scared, and step into who you are meant to be in midlife and beyond. These amazing women, these reinvention rebels, can help light your reinvention path. Come join us and let's get inspired together. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Reinvention Rebels podcast. I am your host, Wendy. I am so excited you are here. You are in for such a treat with my episode today with the fabulous, interesting, inspiring Monique Cupid. We have a great conversation in store for you about managing midlife, reinventing, and how we can navigate through all of these menopausal changes and find our glow. How do we thrive? And Monique has a really awesome reinvention story about that I'm pretty sure you're going to love. Plus, we are talking about the coolest event of the fall, and I hope you'll be able to attend. We're going to talk all about that in just a couple of moments. But I got to ask you, did you have a chance to listen to the episode a couple weeks ago with my girl, Antoinette Blake? It was fire. I loved our conversation. It was impactful. It was powerful. It was inspiring. It was so good. And she had so much wisdom to share about career setbacks. Y'all, we have all been there. Like when I quit my corporate job in my 40s to pursue my passion and dream of becoming a health coach, and it didn't work out. Well, not in the end. And it was a career setback for me. And the inspiration she shares is something you really need to listen to, because those setbacks can lead us to new possibilities. But we get so caught up in our mind that sometimes we forget that. So I really, really encourage you to check out that episode. Details, of course, are in the show notes about that. In a moment, we're going to get to our conversation with Monique. But first, can I share something with you? 3 words: rinse and repeat. That's my mantra when it comes to things that are good for me, like Magic Mind. This mental performance shot boasts all natural ingredients, like lion's mane mushrooms and ashwagandha, and it helps me welcome in calm, focus, and increased productivity. No small task during these menopausal times. You know what else? I like to set it and forget it. Yep, I'm a subscription kind of a girl. It makes it easy breezy to have my monthly subscription on repeat. No having to remember to reorder each month. And did I mention that subscriptions come with free shipping and a money-back guarantee? It's a no-brainer. A good-for-you daily performance shot that helps you feel your best, and an easy-to-use subscription. You just can't go wrong. I want you to check out Magic Mind and this subscription for yourself. In fact, you can save up to 48%. Simply go to magicmind.com/rebels. At checkout, use code REBELS20. That's REBELS20. Of course, all of the details are in the show notes. And now, let's get to this amazing conversation with my girl, Monique Cupid. At 53, Monique Cupid is a vibrant and fearless advocate for rewriting the midlife narrative, viewing the stage not as an ending, but as the beginning of an extraordinary adventure. Monique believes in the immense power and freedom that comes with steering our own journey and defying societal expectations, a beautifully rebellious act. Though she has faced challenges and moments of feeling stuck, Monique's proactive pursuit of growth and her connections with loved ones and inspiring individuals have driven her to seek more from herself and life. She holds core beliefs in constant evolution, the art of releasing what is out of one's control, and taking ownership to amplify what can be influenced. As the visionary behind the Midlife Glow Chaser, Monique encourages women to embrace their inner and outer radiance during this exhilarating midlife stage. In collaboration with her co-founded project, Life in the Pause, she empowers others through education, community, and the celebration of the transformative menopausal journey. Monique views midlife as an exciting new beginning, an opportunity to embrace life with enthusiasm and guide others to do the same. Monique Cupid, welcome to the Reinvention Rebels guest chair.
Hello, Miss Wendy. I'm so honored to be here.
I am so
Super excited.
Me too. I have been looking forward to this interview, literally, Monique, for months.
Yes, same here.
I'm grateful for your time and your presence to share your reinvention story. And I'm going to tell the audience a little bit about how we met, because we're going to be talking about this topic in our conversation today. But out of the blue, last year, you reached out to me and said, my friend and I are putting together this menopause festival, this one-day conference in New York City, and we'd love for you to be a speaker. And I don't even know how you found me, but that's how it all started. And we just have this really fantastic connection. So
yeah, I mean, that was amazing. And I just found you on Instagram. I just scrolling, looking for people and just scrolling, and I came across your page, and your voice just captivated me, and your voice and the title Reinvention Rebel, because I'm always about midlife and that finding yourself and new ways of expressing yourself and just catching on to that pivot in your life. And you were speaking it, and I'm like, every time I hear you speak, I'm like, she's definitely speaking to my soul, because that's where I am right now. And I think she needs to speak at our conference for sure.
That was so awesome. And it was such a fantastic experience. So many amazing women. We're going to talk more about what's coming up for the second annual Life in the Pause Festival. But before we even get to any of that, I first want to know your story. I want to know about your reinvention story. I want to know how you evolved into the amazing 53-year-old woman that you are today. And I know at 50, you were feeling stuck. You felt like you needed to change some things. What feelings were bubbling up that made you feel like, I'm in this space of stuckness?
I think at that time when I turned, let's go back to a year prior. When I was 49, so living through my 49th year, I was very excited to be in my 50s and approaching it. And, 50 is like this big number and milestone. I'm just gonna conquer the world. And 50 came, and that was still in the midst of COVID and the pandemic, where at that time we had a mild second shutdown. And then that kind of just took the wind out of my sails. Okay, so I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything right now because of COVID. Trying to figure out how to maneuver through life with this whole COVID situation going on, dealing with that, and then also realizing career-wise, what am I going to do career-wise? I'm 50. In my head, the youngest gets the best. They get the calls. They are just the chosen one. And here I am at 50, and I just felt like there was nothing out there for me. The feelings that were bubbling up were hopeless, which was weird because the year prior I wasn't feeling hopeless. But at 50, I was just like, oh my gosh, I feel hopeless. I feel like I'm in the center of this gelatin bowl and I can't move anywhere. It's like, can I go here? Can I do this? Like questioning everything if I can do. After a while, I broke out of that gelatinous mess and started to go out and explore to help me get unstuck. And that's helped tremendously doing that. It's just doing it anyway. And I love your saying is do it scared. And that's what I kept running in my head. And then I would just put myself out there and it helped a whole lot. Yeah.
I think it's really interesting when you talked about how at 49 you were feeling really good. And I think that there are so many things that can impact how we feel, how we show up. And obviously the pandemic was such a huge thing that impacted everybody in so many dramatic ways. But then you add in our mindset, our limited self-talk, looking at how aging women are viewed. I mean, there's many different variables. So I can see how you could get into that space of feeling hopeless or feeling less than. And what I hear you saying is that the way that you shifted out of your stuckness was to start taking action, to start exploring, seeing what's out there. What are some of the things that you started to get curious about? Are you thinking, I'll have some of what she's having? Reinvention ripples are amazing, as you can hear from our discussion. They've put themselves first, decided their dreams matter, and are taking action. They have unleashed their inner rebel and are living on purpose in midlife. Are you ready to start putting yourself first and embark on your midlife dreams, focused on what you want, not others' ideas of what you should do? Come check out my new audio course, Midlife Reinvention from the Inside Out. 8 Essentials to Greenlight Your Life. I share my roadmap to get you started on your reinvention journey with the key components you need to navigate detours and get on the road to smooth reinvention sailing. Sis, it is time to give yourself the green light to shine in midlife and crush those dreams of yours with joy and purpose. Join today and let's reinvent and get inspired together. Details are in the show notes.
It's so interesting how it really just exploded was when my husband, so he is a New York Liberty fans, which is the WNBA women's basketball team. And he passed me a flyer that they were doing auditions for Timeless Torches, which is a senior dance team. And and I'm like, I don't know if I want to go to this. Like, it's a senior dance team. Like,
I'm not even a senior. Thank you very much. Hello.
I'm like, all right. I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go and see what this is all about. I'm just here for some content to shoot and then call it a day. So I go there and, oh my God, it was like the best experience ever. Now, first of all, I went there not prepared at all, was not working out or dancing before that, but the routine they were doing, holy cow. I was like, this is not your mama's dance team. I was like, and there are women who are in there, they were 80s, 70s, 60s, from 40 on, you name it, that age group was there and they were killing it. Experiencing that kind of ignited something in me that was kind of like snuffed out a long time ago. And that's my love for performing and dancing. And I really had stopped in my like 8th grade because I used to perform with this dance troupe and we used to perform at Madison Square Garden every year.
Wow.
So it was like this whole big production that I was used to. And, you know, you get older and things happen and you forget about it. So then, you know, at 51, I think is when I did it. No, maybe 50, 51. When I went to that audition, I left there like, oh my God, I want more. I don't want this to stop. I got to figure out what I need to do to get more of this. So though I didn't get on the team for 2 tryouts, I did 2 years in a row, and I didn't make it, which was fine, but it was just helping me get out of my shell. It opened the doors to exploring new things. So one of the women there that I met and I'm friends with, her name is Phyllis Spencer, and she goes by Love Yourself Phyllis. Yes, that's what she is. And she's a couple of years older than I am, and she's such an inspiration for me to just tap into that creative side. You're never too old to audition for a dance troupe. You're never too old to go for acting gigs, which is what she models and acts. So I can actually pick up where I left off at 50-something and continue to try to strive for it. I was like, I like this a lot, and I like how I feel doing it. And it does take me back to my youth of the excitement of going on auditions or dancing or just, being really creative with it. That started it all for me. And it's thriving. I am thriving at this point with all that, and I'm very excited about it. And thank God I did go to that audition, because if I did it, I don't know what would have gotten me out of my funk.
It's so interesting how sometimes one thing can be sort of light the fire under us. And to your point, it doesn't always, that initial thing might not work out, but look where it got you in, as you said, igniting that spark and getting you going and helping you see new possibilities and getting inspired by seeing other women who are older than you doing that. And I think that that's sometimes what we need, right? That's the whole idea of the Reinvention Rebels podcast, right? Women that have found that spark and have inspired themselves as well as other people in thinking about what's possible. So tell me a little bit about what's happened since then. So that was sort of what got things going. What are some of the ways that you've reinvented yourself over the last couple of years?
Well, I always say I'm always pivoting. My whole thing is play. And it started when I think 49, my word of the year was play, and it has not changed since then. I want to play. I want to be creative. I want to be able to express myself, at this age in a creative way. And I want to be able to show up as myself and not be apologetic about how I'm showing up. Yes, we've changed. Bodies change. Everything's just changed at this time. And it's like, I don't want to shrink because of the change. I want to embrace it and just enjoy my life regardless. There are days where I'm like, I'm really not happy with that, but I'm just not going to let that stop me. But yeah, so just really getting out there and trying new things. That's it. It's just trying new things to help me reinvent myself. And right now I'm in a creative space. Who knows where that's going to take me and how I have to pivot in a couple of years, but just getting involved in getting into background acting. I started that last year, and that's a whole reinvention because I never thought I would be background acting. I never thought I would be just getting up and going to auditions or for acting, because I'm always a quiet person and I don't really like to speak a lot. So that's a new thing for me is, auditioning for more roles and more speaking roles and just really putting myself out there and having a good time.
That says it all. Yeah. Putting myself out there and having a good time. I love your theme of play. I love how that's manifesting. And as someone who follows you on Instagram, I see your playful side. I see the fun things you're doing. And I love that you're doing, actually, I didn't even know that background acting was a thing. I'm like, oh, wow. So just that alone just speaks to the possibilities that are out there for any of us. And we can all find our own groove. It might not be background acting, but for someone else, it's going to be something else. It's going to be equally as enchanting and inviting. And so that whole idea, I'm like, yes. And I see you're behind the scenes on Instagram. It's so fun. It's just so fun to see you in action and to see you in your element. And I think what's really interesting in what you said is that You said, I'm a quiet person. I'm in more of an introvert. So I'm getting out of my comfort zone. But yet when I see you, it looks like such a natural thing. I wouldn't know that speaking wasn't necessarily your thing because you seem like a total natural. For the last several years, as you look back at this whole idea of reinventing yourself and getting curious, trying new things, what would you say is the biggest lesson that you've learned about yourself through this process?
Biggest lesson that I've learned about myself. I learned that I need to give myself grace more, because during this whole change, your mind starts going and you feel like you're not moving as fast, or you're not in a position where you think you should be. And then the brain starts, messing with you. And I've learned that I need to stop when that all happens and just calm myself down and say, it's okay. Like this period right here is supposed to happen. Like this is part of the alignment that's happening. So instead of beating yourself up about it, give yourself grace, be patient. And in the meantime, explore things, It's like, just don't stand still waiting, explore. And then if things work out and if it's moving in a direction that it's supposed to move in, it'll all make sense. And if it doesn't, it's okay, because I am ready to pivot. And that's what I've learned, that I'm a pivoter. I can pivot. I've looked at my past and see the different things that I've done. I'm like, wow, okay. So I'm thinking, I haven't done much, I'm just a boring person. And yeah. And then I'm thinking, I'm like, no, I've done a lot. I've had an online store. I've worked in retail for over 20 something years. I've moved into social media. I've done this, background acting. So there's all these different things that I'm like, oh, I pivot. I pivot. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing to be,
It really is. And I think you're absolutely right that, one, we don't give ourselves enough credit. We tend to lowball, so to speak, our accomplishments. I think as women especially, where men are like, I've done, they'll tell you about everything they've done. They don't hesitate. They're just like, even if it's only kind of half true, they'll be like, well, we're like, well. So I love that you've recognized your greatness, that you are able to see all of these pivots and how significant they've been, and this notion of offering yourself grace as we navigate this process, which is so unknown, so many questions. Midlife ushers in so many opportunities, but also a lot of passages. Our kids grow up, we might become empty nesters, we tend to lose our parents in midlife. I mean, so many things. There's joy, but there's also a lot of loss in different ways. And I think that offering ourselves grace, to me, is such a powerful thing for any of us to do, to kind of, to navigate and kind of figure it out. It feels like part of finding your vibrant 50-something self has to do with this amazing conference that you and your co-creator, Dixie, facilitated, orchestrated, planned to perfection last year, the Life in the Pause Festival. It was just so amazing. Can you talk more about the conference and why it's so empowering for midlife women?
Yeah, so Life in the Pause, it's really about the education and the community around midlife and menopause. And menopause is opening up now, where with your friends, we're talking about it more with your family members. But that's starting to open up. And at the same time, Dixie and I felt like the conversations were on like a little negative side of menopause, the dark side of menopause, which is valid because, it's not easy when you're transitioning through this time. But at the same time, there's celebration in it because there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are resources out there to lighten that load or that weight of feeling hopelessness. There's celebration in being in midlife. That's another thing that's kind of looked at like, okay, so I'm at the stage and society says I need to shrivel up and stay in a corner somewhere and be quiet, not seen or heard. And we're like, now we're just getting started right now. So we are about to step up, show up, and celebrate the heck out of it because we've earned it. We've earned it. We enjoy our lives. We have so much more to say, and we're not backing down. So we're looking to inspire more women to find the celebration in all of this and find the positive in going through menopause and going through midlife. And so that's what the festival is all about. And we have another one this year in October 5th. And we would love to see you guys come and celebrate this time in our lives with us because it's something to celebrate big time.
It really is. And it's such a fun day of celebration. There are women from all different backgrounds and experiences along sort of the trajectory of midlife and menopause. There were so many wonderful things I learned because, to your point, even when I started, I feel like there wasn't this conversation going on that you see everywhere now, that people are talking about it. Doctors are talking much more about it. There's so much more information out there that's more readily available. Even 10 years ago, it felt like it was different. And, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's just so much information. Every time, Dixie and I talk about this festival and what topics we should talk about, there's so many topics. So many topics that I'm like, girl, we need to have a 2-day festival with this because...
Yes, girl. Yes, 2 days.
It's just so much to share. And this year we have a new panel that I'm so excited about because I feel like a lot of people aren't really either sharing or privy to the information. And that's just the self-advocacy part of the menopausal journey, whether it be at the doctor's office or at the workplace. So we have like these 2 great speakers who's going to give us the tools that we need to show up in these spaces and advocate for ourselves and just feel confident going into these spaces. Because I know from my personal experience going into the doctors and feeling like, oh my God, I feel so hopeless. I'm like, this woman has not given me any kind of hope sitting up here in her office. So to have the speakers that we have this year to talk about that, I'm so excited. So excited.
I'm really excited about that too, because I feel like self-advocacy, especially at work, there are situations where maybe you're the only midlife woman on your team. And even just being able to advocate for yourself when it's like incredibly hot, or that you need a different working situation, or, being able to take that idea that you have and be able to express that and have your needs met so that you can be productive and focused, which it can be hard to do if you have like terrible symptoms, or brain fog or whatever it is, outrageous hot flashes. And so this idea of asking for what you need, both with the doctor or a naturopath or whoever your healthcare professional is, but also in this space where we spend so much time, to me is powerful. So I'm really looking forward to that. What are some of the other things that are going to go on at this year's conference?
So, we have our standard panel, which is the signs and symptoms and solution, just so you know what you can do. And there's information out there for that. Definitely going to have the lifestyle panel. And I think that's what we have so far. We're still
more to come.
See what we can do.
Yeah, more to come. I will simply say that if you are anywhere in the New York City area, the tri-state area, I know that there are people listening to the Reinvention Rebels podcast that live all around the world, so they can't necessarily just pop over to New York. But if you are in the area, I really have to encourage you to come if you are looking for community and connection. And this event is all about that. I feel like it's about finding your tribe of women that get you. And there just was amazing opportunities for networking. I'm really looking forward to this. So you must tell me, where, Monique, can people find out about it? Where can they get ticket information? How can they learn more about that? Because we'll put it in the show notes.
Perfect. Thanks. So www.lifeinthepause.com. You can find our website, and we have a link to the tickets. And also on Instagram, Life in the Pause. You can find us there. And then the link in the bio is there for ticket as well. And I think those are the 2 spots we have for ticket purchases.
We'll put those right into the show notes. And hopefully some of you will be joining us for the 2nd annual Life in the Pause Festival. which will be here before we know it.
That would be awesome. Yes, I know. It's like a month, pretty much. Yeah, so I hope you guys can join us. We would love to see you and celebrate this amazing time in our lives. Join us, please.
Yeah, right. And it is like I know it's that shift that we're talking about, that when we can kind of break through the limiting beliefs we have about midlife and aging generally and get to that sweet spot that we're talking about where we feel empowered in body, in mind, in spirit, then we can get that glow chaser idea that you have, that midlife glow chaser idea, right? Where we really shine, right? We shine our brightest. And I love that. As we're wrapping up, I'd love for you to share one piece of advice about reinventing and becoming unapologetic. What I see is that you have really stepped into your own. You've declared, this is who I am. I'm going to be my authentic self. I know, of course, not everyone is where you are, right? There are people listening that want to become a reinvention rebel. They really want to reinvent, but maybe they're still in that stuck phase where you started and they're not, I feel like it's on a continuum, right? We kind of move along as we have these experiences. So what advice would you have for someone who wants to make that movement, but isn't sure how to begin?
So for me, and I think it could help others, I really start with play because that helps relax you and helps you to be open to new things. So when you try something new in the play aspect, then try something else. So I'm always thinking of just explore new things, just constantly explore new things and see what works what works for you. And then you can take it from there because you never know until you try. If you try and it's not your thing, move on. For example, I tried with the senior dance team. It just didn't click for me to be a part of that. So instead of trying to question why and just beat myself up about it, it's like, okay, well, this is not for me. So let me move on and try something new and see what works. So that's what I can recommend women to do, is just be open to new things.
Be open to new things. It's so key. I also think that sometimes when things don't work out, which I know can feel disappointing because sometimes we get our hopes up about things, and I feel like they always lead to something different and better. And I like this mantra, this or something better. So I always think about that. Often those things that end up being seem like obstacles often are our biggest opportunities for growth in ways we hadn't even anticipated. And look at what it unleashed in you. I mean, because, if you got into like dancing, would you be doing background acting? Who knows? And who said you can't go back and do it again later? Like go back to the dancing if you want to, right?
That's the joy of all of this. And that's what gets me so excited and giddy about, midlife, is that there's no one way of doing something. There's no wall. There's no ceiling. It's you just go for it. And what's meant for you will happen. Just don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. And this is your time to explore as much as you can. That's how I feel. I think it's more so now than it was when I was younger because you had so many other things that you had to, be on top of, or you had a, condition to think a certain way. But, as you get older, you realize I want something different. I want something new. And the only way for me to get that is to be open to trying things out. So
openness, it leads to all kinds of possibilities, as you've so beautifully articulated. I have to encourage everyone to follow Ms. Monique Cupid on Instagram and the many other places where she can be found. So Monique, please tell us where people can follow you, because she is so inspiring and she's so playful. She talks about this idea of play. If you want inspiration, y'all, you got to follow this woman.
Thanks. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So you can follow me on Instagram at the Midlife Glow Chaser. And I also have another page called Brown Skin Green Beauty. And Midlife Glow Chaser is about midlife lifestyle. Brown Skin Green Beauty is a combination of fashion, beauty, lifestyle in your 50s or so. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
I love it. I love it. You will love following this amazing soul. Monique, I just can't thank you enough for gracing me with your presence, sharing your beautiful story, introducing us to this idea of play and just in our own way, trying new things, experimenting to find out what sticks, what do you like, what do you want to do more of as you've done, and just seeing how you've evolved and the things that you're doing to go from, I don't know about this to I love this. I love where I am and I feel very empowered. That is the true Reinvention Rebel spirit. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you so much for having me. I'm, like I said, so honored to be on your show here. And I can't wait till we get together and hang out in October.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes, indeed. It's going to be awesome.
Yes.
And I look forward to seeing you in person, IRL, right?
That's
Not
right.
just
right. Right.
Not just
Emails,
on Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So thank you so much, friend.
Thanks, Wendy.
Play more. I love that idea. I love what Monique shared about how she used play as an entry into reinvention. And she explored, she tried new things. She had that experience of trying out for the dance line. And it didn't work out, but it inspired her to start exploring new possibilities that led to all kinds of really cool stuff like background acting. That's what Reinvention Rebels do. They try things on for size. They don't worry if things don't work out because they know that it's this or something better. That if that doesn't work out, it's leading me down a different path that will help me ultimately shine in a way that works for me. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. And I have to put in a pitch for the Life in the Pause Festival. It's coming up on Saturday, October 5th. If you are anywhere in the tri-state New York area or somewhere where you can get to this festival, it is amazing. I am so excited to be a part of it for the second year and cannot wait to connect with all kinds of new and amazing women in midlife that just like you and me, we are all figuring it out one step at a time. If you loved today's episode, do me a favor, drop me a rating and a review in Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Let me know what you loved about the episode because when you leave a review, it makes the podcast more findable for other people. And that's our whole idea. We want more people to find it and get inspired. And if you haven't checked out my free gift yet, 5 questions to spark your creativity and inspire your reinvention rebel journey, you're gonna want to check it out. Just like Monique got her start and she figured it out, this is your kick start in going down that path of reinventing yourself, whether it's your career or it's reinventing yourself after a health crisis that you didn't expect, or reinventing what relationships work for you. Midlife reinvention takes many forms, and I'd love to be your guide on the side to help you get started. So 5 questions to spark your curiosity and inspire your reinvention journey is available via a link in the show notes. Before we go, quick reminder about Magic Mind. You know, my favorite mental performance shot, helps me stay calm and focused. And there's a great discount when you buy a subscription up to 48% off. Details are also in the show notes. All right, Rebels, I'll see you in a couple weeks. Until next time, keep shining your light. The world needs you and all that you have to offer. Are you tired of waiting for someday? Feel like you're too old or it's too late to reinvent yourself? Unsure of how you'd even get started on the path to midlife reinvention? I'm here to help as your guide on the side and host of the top 2% globally rated Reinvention Rebels podcast. I've been around the reinvention block a lot. Here's a simple way you can get started. Sign up for my free audio, 5 questions to spark your curiosity and inspire your Reinvention Rebel journey. It all starts with getting curious about what's possible. And I've got 5 questions to help tease out some very cool ideas. Let's get started. Details are in the show notes.